Okay, I want to welcome everyone back, our returning viewers, and thank all the new ones for checking in. Today we have Coach Ashley Thomas from Olivet Nazarene University to talk a little bit about the school, the team, and what makes those experiences unique for athletes. We're doing these videos to assist coaches looking for race walkers and to get exposure for their programs without having to reach out to the individual athletes and going back and forth with the coaches. Before we get started, just our daily reminder to subscribe to the channel so you're notified of new content when it's posted, and please leave some comments on every video so we know what you think. Coach, it's great to finally meet you, and thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you, Michael. It's great to be here and kind of share about the university and talk a little bit more about race walking as well.
Great. So tell our viewers and any potential recruits about your school and what makes it a unique environment for them.
Yeah, so Olivet Nazarene, we are located just south of Chicago. It's about probably an hour just out of the center of town, so like right around the Bean. We are a Christian liberal arts university. The focus is on the student athlete, and that's NAI school. So we compete in the Chicagoland schools. We're a pretty competitive program. We've done fairly well within the NAI and within our conference. We have about 150, give or take, every year on the team. The team, we have a head coach, which is Kyle Rego. He's the head coach. I'm one of the assistants, and then we have 3 other assistants as well that are involved. We have a jumps coach, throws coach, sprints coach, and then we'll have an occasional GA that will help out as well.
Okay.
So we're a large team, but we're well staffed. We are really blessed with a lot of resources at Olivet. We have both the outdoor indoor track. We have a very large indoor. It has 10 sprint lanes, 8 like outer ring lanes for indoor track. We host a lot of meets, and that's something like Coach Rego and myself have really tried to implement, is like adding in race walk to that, especially within the last couple of years. We've had race walk athletes come through, but we also know, like, in order to grow that program, we need to also like include it into our meets. So that's something we've definitely been trying to push, especially in the last couple of years, trying to get more people involved within the Chicago community. One thing that is kind of nice about the community that we have is we do have race walk coaches that are around. We have officials that are around. Now, we can't guarantee them at every single meet, but like if we say, hey, we have a big number coming, we can usually convince at least 1 or 2 of them to come down to watch the meet and help out. So that's been like a huge positive thing. That's something I've always found really helpful with all the officials, is they're always willing to help out, like with our program and just helping grow the community of race walk.
So one of the things that comes out of that, particularly with the race walk, and with your experience as an athlete, but then also as a coach, is that that when you were putting meets on, the performances that come out of your meets have a higher level of legitimacy because they are being judged, and they're being judged well with the community in Chicago. It has a long history with all ages, youth clubs, and the Chicago Walkers, they've been around forever. They've been around longer than I have been on the earth. So there's a long history in Chicago of good race walking performances, and then that kind of comes into you've got a fairly successful alumnus from your team that I happen to know kind of well too, who's done some really good things over the last couple of years. If you want to, kind of just drop that name, go ahead.
Yeah, so Bryson Healy, he walked for Olivet. He still is a phenomenal athlete. I had the opportunity to work with him when he was brand new. I have his first video of him walking in one of our conference races, and his form has improved immensely.
Significantly.
That was exciting. Going back, looking at those videos, he's raced went to Olympic trials. He's raced in a world championship. So it was really amazing to see what he's done, and really started very developmentally and has gone like he's like, I want to try this. Okay, we said yes. But he really like looked for his goals, and like I don't really want to take credit for what he's done, because he really he took the reins and went with it, and we just kind of him. And you know phenomenal athlete to coach. Phenomenal. I mean, he's married to another athlete that I coached as well, Sarai. Great people. And I know he's now going to start coaching, so that's really exciting too, to see someone that has really worked hard, not only as from very ground level, and worked all the way up. And that is what's so exciting about, I think, what the potential is with Race Walk. So many times, I think when you try something and you don't know how it's going to go, and then you just jump in. And I still remember like watching his mom come to races, and she's like, he's so good. He's so good at this. And
he really made that leap from marginal to really, really good very quickly. I mean, you just saw the times just drop.
Right. And it was a phenomenal thing to watch something from like good runner, but then like phenomenal race walker. That was, I mean, to watch him at the Olympic trials was probably one of the coolest things I've ever experienced in my life. So
yeah, and to know that even though you're deferring credit, you had a role in making that a reality, which was really cool. Having been there with other athletes myself, and that first time, you're just like, wow, it's pretty. This is pretty cool. I was part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was very cool to watch. And with that, like, the year I think, his last year with us on the team, we finished second as a team in the guys indoor championship nationals, and he was a part of that. Like, he scored points so we could become like trophy team, the runner up. So like that was a huge aspect of it as well. Like we really do focus on the team of that, and I think having that good team and having the support, not just with like the runners and the walkers, like we really support each other well-rounded. And it's not just like, okay, you're going to be by yourself as an athlete, nobody cares what you're doing. Like people were, cheering for him like crazy, because we want the points to succeed the team.
Every medal and every point is the same regardless of the event, and that's kind of one of the things that I've been trying to communicate, and hopefully this helps other coaches see that as well, and athletes, that just because it's the race walk doesn't make it any less important than any other event in the meet.
And I think our team is really caught on to that, and like every year now we have people that ask me can you teach me race walk, every single year, without like, they walk up to me in the middle of the season, they're like, hey, like, I heard you know how to do race walk, can you teach me? So that's been really to see, like, maybe someone that would never try it come out, try it, and
make nationals.
Yeah, make
I
national.
mean, it happens. I was speaking to another coach just Saturday where he had a kid that was not scoring, and he introduced him to race walking. And this past season, this young man was an All-American, and he would have made the meet in any other
Yeah,
way.
yeah, absolutely.
So, give us a short history of your coaching background and how you take those experiences and provide growth to your student athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background is I actually started in math education. That's what I thought I was going to do. And then I started to really like coaching. I got injured in college and I was like, I got to figure this out. So I started learning biomechanics because my biomechanics were all wrong. Um, so then I started kind of going more towards the science and not so much the math, and started learning um, like the physiology, biomechanics. I went on, graduated, and went to Western Michigan, got my master's there, and really dove into more of physiology and biomechanics. And that's, I think, how I understand race walk
Mm-hmm.
and really have understood the sport more. I think in every single aspect of track and field, there's a biomechanical aspect, whether it's running, jumping, throwing, sprinting, distance running, race walking. If you can break it down and you can work through it, you're going to be able to teach it.
Yeah.
And so that's where my background is at, and that's why I could really pick up maybe the biomechanics of race walking, because I would just sit there and study. Okay, let's break this down, easy steps. When Bryson came, I was like, sure, I can teach you race walk, but I need to break it down for myself first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just watching video or just observing in practice and going, oh, okay, look at the way his leg moves here, and and I can fix that by changing the other arm.
Mm-hmm. And then looking at like a lot of the officials, like when Tish Hannah was working at where was she
Mobat.
at?
She was at
Mobat.
Mobat.
I became kind of was asking her questions, and she took me down to one of the race walking camps down in like on the border of Texas and
Mm-hmm.
Mexico.
Coach AC's camps,
Yes.
the junior elite stuff.
Yeah, so I learned a ton there, asked tons of questions, found out a lot about the community of race walkers, which again is a wonderful community, just very supportive of the athletes. I've been very impressed and just encouraging to everyone. So that's how I kind of gotten started. And then Diane was down there too. She's been helping me up in Chicago. Like when we need officials, I go to her. I'm like, hey, Diane, can you get me somebody to come down? And I ask her a lot at meets as well. When I see either, conference meets, national meets, I'll just run a few things by her. Like, what do you think of this? Ask her maybe to look at some of more of the developmental athletes that we'll have come through the programs. But yeah, that's how I kind of got my foot into race walking. That's kind of my background. I really like the science. I really like science a lot.
Yeah. It's sort of like the technical geek event of endurance.
Yes.
People who like details.
Yes, I definitely like details. I like to break it down. And I think that's why when, athletes have come to me about specific things, I'm able to, hey, I know I can break this down for you. So that's how I really learned how to coach, was breaking it down and making it usable for every
Mm-hmm.
athlete. Every athlete is a little different, but
Yeah.
we do our best to make it applicable to them. Some people like really deep science. Some people like just give me the basics and I'll figure it out.
Yeah,
So
and learning those individual qualities and how to reach them, that kind of rolls me into the next one is what are the most important qualities in a potential recruit that you like to try to identify?
yes, I would say coachability is key. As long as you're willing to be able to learn and be coached, and be open, that is very key to having a good coach-athlete relationship. And then the other, like, we want you to be competitive, but we also want you to have character. And I think so many times I've seen it, like on bigger national stages, is you can have a really phenomenal athlete with horrible character, and it really just ruins the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It ruins the moment of, wow, you did great, but like nobody likes how you went about getting there. And so that is probably something like we really strive to
You guys are looking for the Champions of Character program with the NAIA, and that's the sort of the mold.
Yes, we really want that character because it makes our lives easier. It makes
Yes.
lives easier, team easier. When
Save your drama for soap operas in the afternoon on
yes,
broadcast TV.
exactly. Character, I would take character 100 times over of, you know, I mean, luckily with Bryson, he was phenomenal character.
Yeah.
They succeed well even after into their lives. Like, yeah, you're here for 4 years, sometimes 5, depending on what you have, but long term, like, you don't know how long athletics is going to be in your life, and you don't know what's going to happen 10, 20 years down the line. But if you can, you know, come out and have a better experience in life because, you know, you made good choices, you made good decisions in your 20s,
Yeah.
those are decisions in your 40s and 50s. So
yeah, it definitely makes the climb up the ladder a lot easier if you're setting up the ladder to not be straight up and down, but sort of more like stairs.
yes, for sure.
So what sort of goals do you set for individual athletes and then also for the team on an annual basis and then over that 4 or 5 year period that they're going to be at ONU?
Yeah. I wouldn't say we set goals for the athletes. I think the athletes set the goals and we help them reach those goals. Are we going to push you and suggest specific goals you should try? Yes, we're not going to just let you settle for, okay, like I won my heat. Yay. Okay.
Well, if that heat was at nationals, it's not so bad. But
goals, then yes, you national champion. Awesome goal. So, but I think we let those athletes, you know, set those goals and we facilitate them. Like I didn't come up to Bryson and say, "Hey, Bryson, will you be a race walker for us?" No, like he really was like, "I think I want to try this," and I think we gave him the resources to do that, and that's something we really like to do at Olivet is try to give you the resources to get where you're trying to be. I think as far as team goals, every year our goal is to win conference. We've been pretty successful in that. We also look to be in the top like 20 within like either cross or track and field. We're always looking, and this doesn't happen every year, but we always want to try to look for a trophy. We're always like, okay, scheming in the back of our minds, how can we trophy as a team? Now that takes putting the right people in the right places at the right time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some teams are really blessed; they can do it every year, but we just have to put the right people at the right places at the right time. So we're always scheming in the back of our minds, how can we do this?
And the difference between 6th and 20th is not like, I mean, it may look different in the points, but it's really not that much different.
Exactly. Right. So like if you're top 10, you're doing phenomenal that year. Like you're really doing phenomenal as a team. And something I see within that team and developing those team goals is with the individuals, I see them, because the team is pulling them in one direction, they tend to improve in whatever event they're in, because they're all trying to go towards the same goal. And so they just reach a higher standard. Like, what's the higher standard?
Mm-hmm.
You see that after they graduate as well. Like, I see them all the time, like coming back for an alumni thing, like different groups of the team come back and they're like really excited to be there. We're now getting some of our alumni to come back as officials. And
that's always helpful. I mean, that's critical. I wish more schools did that.
And that's what we really want, is to like see you succeed in life. And I think we do that by building a good team culture. So that way, when you get later on, you have like those people, like still some of my closest friends. Like, I just got married a month ago. 2 of my teammates were in my wedding.
Mm-hmm. Likewise.
Like, those people, they are still with you, and they've seen you go through some of the hardest things in your life because they've challenged you, like as an athlete, as a person. And then later on in your life, when, I'm not necessarily an athlete anymore, but I'm a coach, they still are pushing me to succeed in my life. I'm helping them succeed in their careers, in their families, and in their lives. So that's like the ultimate goal, is that when you're done with athletics, or if you continue on with athletics, that, you're continuing on with a great culture and a great community around you.
Cool. So now the fun one.
Okay.
You ready?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay. Which is the better barbecue food, hot dogs or hamburgers, and why?
Hamburgers. I don't have a reason why. I just really like a good hamburger. So I like cheese and I like mayo on my hamburger, and you don't really put mayo on.
Yeah, that would be nasty.
Well.
Mayo on a hot dog? I mean, that's worse than the ketchup and mustard argument.
Yeah. So I like mayo, lettuce, tomato, cheese on my hamburger. I'm a big hamburger person.
Okay.
Year round.
Well, I guess we've we've answered the worldwide dilemma on hamburgers and hot dogs.
Okay. What about you?
Generally hamburgers, unless I'm at a baseball game. If I'm at a baseball game, it is always a hot dog. Sometimes with chili, sometimes with cheese, sometimes with both, but it's always a hot dog. It's required.
Okay.
I grew up as a baseball nut, so it's like if I'm sitting in the bleachers or anywhere at a baseball game, it's the first thing I get is a hot dog.
Okay. Who's your team?
Sadly, I will say it's the Mets. They are like a disappointing ex-girlfriend. They just ruin every year of your life. There's a Family Guy episode where Stewie's in the stands and he's like, oh, and there's the first pitch and the season's over, and he's at a Mets game. And it's accurate every single year. They break our hearts. So I want to thank you again, Coach Thomas, for joining us. It's been a pleasure chatting with you, and I hope you had a great experience and you have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.